introduce myself. As an organizer of the symposium, I also will have several talks today. The less embarrassing, I suppose, so probably it's better start now while we still don't have too many in the audience. So I will be telling you about pretty cool looking Bactrocera species with the red stripes on thorax that have been discovered during my previous project at CDFA. So a little introduction about Dacinae. And this is a very big group of Tephritidae. I mean, it's, I was talking to Luke, and he said that at least 1,040 species are currently known as described, and 83 of them are considered pests of agriculture. And Bactrocera has something about 460 something species valid, but I assume it's way over 500. Because every time we look at it, we find something new. And of course, they cause a lot of troubles as pests, and they are quarantined for many countries and already spread way beyond their natural habitats in Southeast Asia and Africa. So the fruit fly project I worked on was funded by U.S.A, and it started in 2010. By Steve Marty and Martin Hauser, and the goal was to collect as many as possible species from all the world and do the sequencing, then upload it to online libraries like Vault to really support the possibility of identification of intercepted larvae in the fruits for such agencies as CDFA or Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And there was a group, Steve, Martin, and then it was 3 postdocs, Chris Borkent, Andrew Young, and me, myself, the last one. I suppose all of the people here you can meet them at the symposium except Chris. I haven't seen him. Yeah, he couldn't come too. So we had, okay. The group had multiple collecting trips, 23 trips over the 8 years of collecting. And for me, it was kind of a little bit sad because I came in the middle of pandemic. And there was no trips because there was very difficult to arrange any of those. And after 6 months I've been in the project, the funding was canceled. So I was like, okay, I cannot really travel and explore a lot of places. But what can I do? I can process all the material they were collecting through this decade. And it was a lot of specimens of very different species collected. Not only the signs, it was all the subfamilies and a lot of really cool stuff. So I identified approximately 30,000 specimens during that time in the lab. And as a result, the collection just really expanded at least twice in numbers of species and specimens represented. And for example, before the project, CSA had modest number of 90 species of Bactrocera and Dacus in the collection. And then the project added about 100 species of Dacinae, and then we exchanged some of the material with Luke, and now we have at least 228 species in there. So if you do have some really cool Dacinae in your collections, we'll be happy to exchange and even expand that number. And of course on Vault, we uploaded about 1,721 specimens, about 290 bins, and most of those are Tephritidae, some Platystomatids, some Pergodids, very few Ulidids, obviously, because we were not mostly collecting in Oriental region where Ulidids are not that common, and we unfortunately don't have many of those from Africa. So, closer to topic. The last trip that the team of CDFA performed was to the island of Luzon in the Philippines, and near the mountain Isarog, they collected plenty of material. Andrian and Natalia on Ellen Ritter, they were responsible for collecting, and I'm very grateful that they did such an awesome sampling. So after I got to the material, I recognized there are two pretty cool species of Bactrocera, very similar to each other from the same location. And I started to look more closely and I realized that they're completely different, even morphologically from each other. There are a lot of characters you can use to recognize those, but I sequenced them and they were completely different from each other, and they were completely different from any known Bactrocera. And I decided, okay, we need a key for striped Bactroceras, because if I want to describe the species of Bactrocera, why don't have a key for all striped Bactroceras? And very fastly I realized that two main pests that causing troubles around the world, Bactrocera dorsalis and Bactrocera caramboli, are stripy often, especially dorsalis that, well, could be now called, some people, invadants. Drew and Hancock resurrected it from the grave, and now we're in this situation where we need to figure out what to do next. So I contacted Luke and Camille, and Camille immediately said, oh yeah, striped Bactroceras, we do have one. It's from Malaysia, from Borneo, Malaysian Borneo. It's very similar to Diptera, and let's do something together. And then, of course, you go online, you go to the Biodiversity of Singapore website, and then you have this unknown Tephritidae there, which kind of looks as Bactrocera for me, and definitely it needs kind of more investigation what it is. So I already spoke to Yu-Chan, and we'll try to figure out, is it something new as well, and if it goes to our key as well? We'll see. And Luke, thank you very much. He immediately said, oh, Severyn, yeah, well, there are another 40 species of striped Bactroceras, so yeah, let's do the key. And Luke, spoiler, in his project that he works currently, really has a lot of wonderful pictures of Bactroceras, and I hope he will allow me to use some of those pictures in our further publication. So yeah, that's something that could resemble this new species of Bactroceras. They are described Latritania, Medarufula, and Bidetaita. It caught it. So all of the new species, they are well differentiated molecularly and morphologically. Those very close relatives, well, maybe not relatives, but just looking similar species. And that's the very draft of the key I'm working on now, but quite likely it will look a little bit different. It just needs a lot of polishing and changing, but I really want to put as many characters as could be useful, illustrate this key and publish it. So I'm very grateful to all of the people at CDFA and other facilities that helped me. And I'm trying not to take a lot of time during my talk, because maybe I will leave some more time for you to have your own presentations. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Questions? Please.
You mentioned you have many collection trips all over the world. So, do you have all those specimens, practical specimens, back to U.S., or you just take photos for the specimens? Because I know exporting the specimens to different countries here is quite difficult, right?
Most of the specimens are currently in the collection of California Department of Food and Agriculture. As for all of those trips, CSA members had all the permits that they were needed to take them out of the country, identify there, and put in the collections. For some countries, for example, Bhutan, we returned most of the material that we all processed as identified material, and some of the material still remains in our collection because we are still processing some of it. So it depends, but for most of them, we had all the permits and agreements because it was beneficial for all the countries. Like, we do the surveys and identifications, and they know what pests they have. For example, in Bhutan, for the first time, we found that they have Bactrocera lactifrons, and it was damaging their tomatoes, but they didn't know they have it until it got to our hands. So, yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, I assume that's all then. Thank you very much.